Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining me. Happy Friday to all you guys watching at home. I hope you've had a wonderful week. It was a pretty long week for us here at the Atlanta News First studio in the newsroom here. I've asked a lot of my colleagues. They all seem to just say the same thing, that it was just a week that just didn't want to end. But it's ended. Here we are, Friday. Happy to you, whatever your plans are this evening. If you even have any plans, I hope you enjoy it safely and out of this rain. It's been a up and down kind of week. It was sunny this morning. I was out in it around 9 and 10, and then out of nowhere it just opened up on us and things got nasty. But we're going to jump into some of these stories for the night, walking you through your top stories for this Friday on a local, national, and international level. And we've got some from all categories for today. So we're going to start off with a story that actually just happened a short while ago and we're still covering. We've got a team out there right now at the North Ave Marta station. We've been told by Marta police that a police officer stopped a gentleman who had marijuana in his possession. And when the officer made that stop, that gentleman pulled a gun on that officer, and that officer then proceeded to shoot and kill that person at the North Avenue Marta station. So what I can tell you right now is that that station remains closed down, and they're not running trains stopping at that station. Of course, they have to pass through, but they're not stopping at North Avenue right now as this investigation remains active. They've got bus service that is taking people through Civic and Midtown and North Avenue, that triangle. And so if you need to get anywhere where the North Avenue station would usually service, look at the website, check Twitter. They've got a map up, they've got the routes up, jump on a bus, and they're going to be able to get you where you need to go. We don't know how this altercation escalated into weaponry with the guy pulling a gun on this officer, alleged pulling a gun on this officer, according to Marta police. But once we get more information, we'll be sure to let you know. We've got a crew, I believe, that's on the scene. Jason,
Yeah.
it's Asia Wilson, right?
What?
At the Marta station?
No, it was Chelsea.
Chelsea, I'm sorry, Chelsea Bimefor. So Chelsea Bimefor is collecting the information on this story. She was live just a short while ago at 7 o'clock. And so as she gets ready for our evening shows here, 9, 10, and 11, she'll have the latest information for you on air. And of course, we're going to update you right here online on the Atlanta News First app as well. Moving on, second story I want to talk to you guys about. If you're a Braves fan, then we've got some good news. The Braves have selected a brand new PA announcer that will be replacing Kerry. And you might remember he is a longtime Braves announcer. He has been the guy for a very long time. Now we've got a new gentleman by the name of Kevin Cross. He's going to be the new PA announcer. And Mr. Cross has a little bit of experience. He used to do the Braves AAA team, so he's not new to announcing. He's not new to baseball. This was a fan vote. I believe there was an election board of seven electors, and then the 8th vote casted was decided by the fans, by us. We got to vote, we got to pick this Monday. This Monday, the voting closed at noon. They tallied up those votes, and Kevin Cross was the winner. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up some video right here. Take a listen to this.
And now, the starting lineup for your Atlanta Braves.
And that right there is Kevin Cross. You can hear he's got the voice for it. And so if you're going to Truist Park, you're going to be watching the Braves moving forward. You're going to hear a lot more of him. I can promise you that. Now, 500 people tried out for this position. This is all of those applicants right here, right now. Kevin Cross is the one that came out on top. So Asia Wilson, I said her name earlier, she is going to be in our show. She's not doing the Marta shooting. She's covering this story, and she's going to bring us all the details about how Kevin beat out 500 other applicants. And he, of course, will be the new voice you hear if you are ever inside Truist Park. And I know we got a lot of Braves fans watching right now, so I'm sure you guys are looking forward to the new season. A lot of great stuff coming down the line, a lot of young talent that's looking to take us to the next level. The Braves are still looking for that new leader. Hopefully, we'll be able to find that this season. So, third story I want to talk to you guys about is an interesting one. You may have heard about a gentleman by the name of Flat Creek Floyd. He is an alligator that lives in Peachtree City in Flat Creek. And you might be thinking, you know, what's an alligator doing in metro Atlanta? I think experts are thinking the same thing because they're not very common. We've got about 250,000 alligators in the area, in Georgia, I should say. 95% of them live way down south when you start getting closer to Florida. So for an alligator to be here, pretty interesting, pretty unique. I've got a package for you. I want to show you this story. Don Shipman was out at Flat Creek earlier today, and basically Don is saying that experts are warning that even though it's a tourist attraction and it's kind of an icon at this point, Flat Creek Floyd, you still got to remember that he is a dangerous animal.
Exactly. So if you see people walking up and down 74 here in Peachtree City, not too far from the public supermarket, they're likely trying to get a glimpse of Floyd. But here's the thing. I talked with a wildlife expert who says, yes, we can coexist with alligators, but that doesn't mean you want to get too close.
My wife saw it posted on Facebook.
It's the alligator that's become a bit of a social media sensation. No, not in Florida, but here in Georgia.
Decided to come down and see if we could see it for ourselves.
Flat Creek Floyd is once again basking in the Georgia sun on the banks of the Flat Creek in Peachtree City. John Hicks and his daughter Emma getting a real-life lesson in wildlife biology.
She's learning about animals and in school, and so it was really neat to be able to see one here close to home.
I appreciate the fact that folks are enjoying seeing him.
While Georgia's gator population of about 250,000 typically live much further south of the so-called fall line, like below Augusta and Columbus, wildlife biologist Kara Nitschke with the Georgia Department of Natural Resources isn't surprised that Floyd found a home here in the metro.
Peachtree City is south of Atlanta, and it's not terribly far from the normal range of alligators in Georgia, so it could be that this alligator ranged, naturally that far north.
The DNR hasn't received any complaints about Floyd, so there's no plans to remove him. Nitschke warns, though, keep your distance and never feed Floyd.
What do you think he's eating? Because he looks like he is thriving, living his best life.
He does. He looks very healthy. I can assume he's probably eating fish, turtles, potentially snakes.
Feeding an alligator can lead to them becoming too comfortable around humans, which Nitschke says can then lead to dangerous interactions.
It definitely makes you think twice about going near the water.
Removing Floyd could do more harm than good. I'm told that the only reason that they would remove an alligator from an environment would be, say, if it was well north of Atlanta and couldn't survive the winter. And Floyd seems to be wintering just fine along the Flat Creek. In Peachtree City, Don Shipman, Atlanta News First.
So a lot of good information there from Don, for sure. So if you see Flat Creek Floyd, don't feed him. Leave him alone. Or you might be looking for a new arm. Just keeping it honest with you. All right, last story is one you probably have heard or are aware of today, being a marker for the Ukraine-Russia war. It has been 1 year to the day that Russia first invaded Ukraine last February. It's been 12 months already. It's incredible, but their story, all the stories we've had coming out of Ukraine, coming out of Europe in general over the past year have been miraculous, incredible. Some of them tear-jerking, a lot of hope, a lot of strengthening power, whatever you want to, adjective you want to throw out there. It's been a long, long year for so many people. And we've got a lot of some of the millions of Ukrainians who have fled the country amidst this war right here in Atlanta. So what we saw all over the world today as this war rages on is people from all other countries protesting that this is still going on, calling for a ceasefire, calling on Russia to leave the country. This gentleman right here you're looking at, he lives right here in Atlanta. And our Atlanta News First reporter Patrick Quinn spoke to him. His dad is still in Ukraine, and they've been communicating back and forth for the past year. His dad is okay. Thankfully, that is where they're at right now. But you look at some of this video of just how bad Ukraine has been, it's hard to look at. This is that gentleman's brother, and that gentleman's brother welcomed a baby in Ukraine in the last year amidst this war, amidst this fight. It's air raids in the morning, and then it's sirens at night, and you never really know what the next day is going to bring. For so many people, that is their reality. And here in Atlanta, we even had protesters here speaking out on this war being ended. And I think that is what a lot of people, millions of people around the country want. I can tell you, speaking of the country, USA just sent about $2 billion worth of arms, money, supplies, and equipment overseas to Ukraine. to further assist them in this war. We're talking tanks, we're talking artillery, we're talking rocket launchers, all of that stuff, just to hope that Russia can continue to get battered enough to back out. I think Russia's main plan was to sit Ukraine through the winter and have them deal with the blistering cold and fluster out, but instead what you got was Ukraine surviving, pushing forward, and now we're entering spring and they still have not let up. So, I think everyone's hoping that this does not go another year and we're not celebrating a 2-year anniversary, but it's crazy to think that a year ago was when those mortar shells first started falling in Donetsk. So that is all I've got for you guys today. Those were 4 of the stories that we've been covering. We've got much more coming up at 9, 10, and 11. But in the meantime, what I want to do now is hand it right on over to First Alert meteorologist Patrick Pete, who's going to jump in here and talk about some of that rain I was telling y'all about earlier to start out. Patrick, is it going to be a soggy Friday evening?
It is a soggy Friday evening, but the showers are going to be diminishing as we head through the next couple of hours. So just want you to be aware of that. Meanwhile, First Alert in effect as we head through parts of next week. The first one will be on Monday, as another chance for rain is in the forecast and some gusty winds. So that's the reason for the First Alert. I think the winds are going to be something that impacts everyone. The rain's going to be real hit or miss. Looks like that line's going to be diminishing as it moves through the region. So hopefully you are having a fantastic Friday evening. I know that happy hour is always happiest on Friday, so maybe you're there right now watching us on your phone or on your tablet. Meanwhile, we are going to break down your weekend forecast, starting with Saturday. Expecting the day to be mostly cloudy with some showers that are going to be moving in earlier on. Looks like most of that rain for the first half of the day will be north of Metro Atlanta, folks, in LJ in the mountains, picking up on the bulk of that. We have about a 30% chance of showers because as that line starts to sink further south, this is essentially along a boundary. We're going to expect that to diminish in intensity and coverage. So you can see as it gets closer to Atlanta, it's more spotty. So I would have the umbrella on standby, especially earlier afternoon. I think the morning's going to be fantastic to go for a run. We're talking about temps that are going to be in the mid-50s. Just FYI, something that is unusual is for this time of year is that we have not been in the 50s since Monday. Yeah, we have had very, very warm nights the last few nights where I've had my AC on 2 or 3 nights this week for the first time since I moved to Atlanta. So going to be able to give the AC a break tomorrow morning as temperatures are going to be a little bit more comfy. And then as we head into the afternoon, we'll get into the lower 60s. And that's where our best chance for those scattered showers will be in the forecast. So if you were thinking about stepping out for brunch, make sure that you either have a cap or at least have the umbrella nearby. Heading into the evening, Saturday night, I don't know what you like to do with your Saturday nights, but I like game nights, whether it is poker or spades. I don't lose, and you won't be losing with the forecast. Temperatures are going to be dipping into the lower 60s. Pretty comfortable evening. Starting off Sunday morning with mostly cloudy skies, but Sunday's interesting because guidance continues to hint at breaking clouds later on in the day. The later those clouds break, the shorter the window for us to warm up. So we know that folks in places like LaGrange and Thomaston are going to be in the 70s in the afternoon. Meanwhile, look at Blairsville, 50s. We're going to be talking about 15 to 20 degree temperature disparity across our region just because of the cloud cover on Sunday. So I do expect us to get into the upper 60s here in Atlanta. This model's trying to get us into the lower 70s. I do think the clouds are just going to be a little bit too thick and they're going to stick around a little bit longer. But anywhere from 68 to 71 is where we're going to land for an afternoon high within the metro. Meanwhile, here is that secondary system that's going to impact us on Monday. I was telling you about this one because it's packing a punch out west, but it's going to weaken as it approaches our region. And you can kind of get a good idea of this just from looking at this image. You can see the deeper greens, the darker greens, the yellows. Once you start to see yellows, that typically indicates some thunderstorm activity. When you see the deeper greens, that's heavier rain. Look at how all of that kind of dissipates as it makes its way into Georgia. So we're going to get some rain from this system on Monday, but I'm not expecting this to be as turbulent as what folks are going to be dealing with in the plains when this system arrives. We're going to get the short end of the stick, which I think we're okay with. But winds are still going to be elevated ahead of that front. We're going to be talking about a south wind Monday up until that front passes, and we're talking about sustained winds that 20 to 25 miles per hour at times during the afternoon with gusts as high as 40. So once again, that's not crazy numbers, but this time of year, considering that we've had like lots of rain, wouldn't be uncommon for a couple of trees to be taken down by 40 miles per hour gusts. So that's why we're first alerting your Monday, just because it's going to be breezy. Not to mention those winds are going to be highest when you're on the road getting home from work. And after a month in Atlanta, I have seen how people drive on the interstates. Y'all create lanes out of the shoulder. So with winds that are going to be gusting 40 miles per hour with all of these 18-wheelers around, I definitely want to caution you to just drive cautiously whenever those winds are, always, of course, but especially Monday when the winds are going to be breezy. So first alert for wind and rain. Temperatures are going to top out in the upper 70s because of that south wind. And then we're going to have a couple of tranquil days where things are pretty dry, Tuesday and Wednesday. Sun, clouds, in the 70s. It doesn't get any better than that. That's what we call the golden forecast. But rain's going to move in overnight Wednesday into Thursday. And we're talking about a lot of moisture associated with the system that's rolling in Thursday. So we're first alerting you to that. And we're going to be watching these totals because, once again, this is still a ways out. So we would never try to give you, oh, hey, Norcross, you're going to have 1.5 inches of rain 7 days from now. But what we can tell now is that there's enough moisture here coming in with that secondary system that Thursday through Friday, we're looking at widespread totals that are going to be 1 to 2 inches, and the potential to see some isolated locations get a little bit more than 2 where there's some training. So we're going to watch that, because with totals that large, that could possess a flood risk. And while we fine-tune the forecast with our 7-member team every couple of hours when we get new information, we're going to get you a better idea of what we're thinking as far as the flooding potential with that. Now, we're first alerting you to a lot of rain moving in Thursday. Temperatures are going to be cooler as that rain and cloud cover builds in Thursday into Friday, and temperatures are going to dip into the 60s, with morning lows are going to eventually dip into the upper 40s and 50s. So lots happening with the forecast over the next few days. There's going to be some clouds and some spotty showers because we have this boundary that's stalled in the area all weekend. Saturday is the day where we have the best chance for some showers, and that's roughly about 30%. Sunday, looking real sketchy. We're talking about a couple of sprinkles, lots of dry time. Partly cloudy, mostly cloudy in the morning, becoming partly cloudy in the afternoon. So Sunday is the day to make plans, and Sunday is the day that y'all want to have fun anyway. So I'm going to continue to look at this data. Meteorologist Fred Compagnon and myself are fine-tuning this rain forecast for Monday and this wind forecast. And then, of course, all eyes to Thursday. We're going to have a fresh update for you with some new information roughly in about 40 minutes. We're having our newscast at 9, another one at 10, and our final newscast of the night at 11. So I'm going to quickly look at Facebook just to make sure I am not missing any questions or comments. Hello, Maria and Max. We're good there. Looking at YouTube, and we're good there. So y'all have a good night. I will leave you with this 7 days so that you can plan ahead and make your Sunday fun day plans.